What secrets are you hiding, Ivanka, with your father's dark past now surfacing, with his massive Jeffrey Epstein cover-up underway? What secrets are you hiding? I want to unpack that because I think I know some, but let's just talk about it. You were in this photo with your dad, your brother, Jeffrey Epstein, and who's that man on the right? Do you see him right there? That's John Casablancas, one of your dad's best buddies as well. He died in 2013, the way Jeffrey Epstein is now dead. Casablancas cheated on his first wife by sexually assaulting a 15-year-old girl who he called girl woman. A girl who he called a girl woman who he continued to sexually assault over and over again. Then he left his second wife to sexually assault a 17-year-old girl. He ran something called Elite Model Agency, Elite Model Management, and he partnered with your dad on a lot of beauty pageants, and your dad ran a model agency as well. Your dad had you work for John Casablancas. You were a model in John Casablancas' Elite Model Agency. Now, we know Elite Model Agency has been plagued with allegations of abuse of minors and sexual exploitation of minors, but that's the place where your dad had you work as a model. Here you are right here. You were hanging out with all of the fashion people or whatever. And when you were on Inside Edition, or when you were back in the day as a model, this was on Inside Edition. Here's how you described yourself and your modeling career when you were 15 years old. Here, play this clip.
My family has money and they can support me, but I model because I love to model. And it's something that I enjoy doing. So I don't think it's fair that they made me sound greedy about it and all, because I model because I love to model. And that's really all there is to it.
Now, the way New York Times describes your modeling career is quite disturbing as well. New York Times says the following: her cheekbones high or her name Trump. She seems to have this modeling thing down. There are the sexy outfits when you show up for an interview wearing a floor-length see-through white dress. She's 15 years old at the time. What are we even talking about there? Here you are sitting on your father's lap. Here he is holding your shoulders. Here you are sitting on his lap again. Here's that photo of you and your brother Epstein in Casablancas. This one really struck me right here, where you were giving a tour of your bedroom where you grew up a little later in life. I just want you all to look, everybody, at Ivanka when she sees her bed, when you look at her eyes and she just pauses for a moment. Now, I don't know what the pause means. She may be looking outside, but as I watch this, I can't help but see the pain in her eyes. That's just my opinion. You may see it differently. Everyone's entitled to their opinions. But here, watch this. Here, take a look.
This was my bed. It's a little small for me now. Probably why I don't stay in here anymore, but yeah.
And what floor are we on?
We are on the 68th floor. Not a bad view to wake up to.
Now, I want to show some of these data points as well. And again, while she was a model for Elite Model Management, again, run by John Casablancas, we know she was 15 years old at the time. We know separately that John Casablancas left his first wife to sexually assault a 15-year-old girl. And then he left his second wife to sexually assault an underage 17-year-old girl. This was Ivanka Trump talking about, though this is totally separate from that. This is her talking about her life as a model, working at Elite Model Management. Here, play this clip.
Ivanka is quickly becoming a star in her own right. Along with her editorial work, she is the new face of both the Mugler trademark and Sasson ad campaigns.
People are always going to speculate, and people are always going to wonder, could she have done it without her parents being who they are? And I've always thought, in this industry, your parents can't really get you that far. It's more about the public opinion. And if the public doesn't like you, then you're never going to succeed.
She has to go through letting stage. You know, she's really there, just starting. She has a lot of confidence, a lot of voice, and a lot of personality, and she's a hard worker. And if you start with those qualities, you really can go places.
Yeah, that's sweet. You got beautiful teeth. Keep it happy like that. That's really sweet.
Well, you know, the beauty of Ivanka is that she's really had very little rejection. Now, that's both good and bad, because at a certain point, perhaps she does have rejection and she won't know how to take it. But I think she's very focused, and I think she also really understands how life works.
The eyes.
Now, here's behind the scenes at Ivanka's runway debut in 1997. And you saw how New York Times described it: white see-through dresses. 15-year-old girl, what are you talking about? Here, play this clip.
First stop, makeup. From there, it was time for a funky do, where her hairstylist was hitting on her dad's fortune rather than her.
Can you ask your dad if he's got $500,000 even than me?
Next up, we got a sneak peek at the clothes she'd be wearing.
This is my last outfit, which is absolutely gorgeous.
And all that was left was showtime. So how did it go?
I think it went well.
Now, again, you all remember how Donald Trump would talk about his daughter. He said that what he had in common with her is sex. He said, what do you have in common with your daughter? When she was older, of course, when she was an adult, this interview happened. He was on The View. He was on Wendy Williams. Here he is, they say joking, but who jokes about sex with daughters? Here, play this clip.
She does have a very nice figure. I've said that if Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Okay, Ivanka, what's the favorite thing you have in common with your father?
Either real estate or golf.
Donald, with your daughter?
Well, I was going to say sex, but I can't relate that.
If I weren't happily married and, you know, her father.
My daughter, Ivanka.
Yeah.
She's 6 feet tall. She's got the best body.
By the way, your daughter.
She's beautiful.
Can I say this? A piece of ass. Yeah. She looks more voluptuous than ever.
She's actually always been very voluptuous. She's tall. She's almost 6 feet.
You going up the escalator? I'm going to be dating her in 10 years. Can you believe it?
Now, let me just show you the longer clip from The View so you can see it for yourself. Let's play it.
If Ivanka weren't my daughter, perhaps I'd be dating her. You know?
Oh, it's so weird. Stop. You know what? You are sick.
Isn't that terrible?
Well, you're known for saying outrageous things, Mr. Trump.
Who are you, Woody Allen?
Now, I just want to remind you, because I talked about John Casablancas. Remember, Donald Trump did all these fashion shows and beauty pageants with John Casablancas, the guy who sexually assaulted the 15-year-old girls and the 17-year-old girls and left his wives for underage girls. So here is Donald Trump doing a judging beauty pageant of 14-year-old girls, 14 to 28-year-olds, but mostly underage girls in this pageant. And you can see for yourself, what's going on at this pageant, and you can judge for yourself. Here, play this clip.
58 contestants participated in an exhaustive round of personal interviews designed to help our judges discover what makes each one special.
Your 5'9" reading? Serious, huh? We may measure again tonight before the game. Okay. Thank you very much, Amy.
The concentration was intense inside the judging room.
They don't like you as you are.
And out.
I'm just so excited.
Each girl was considered not only for her beauty and poise, but also for her personality and that indefinable something extra that makes a top model.
Okay, you want to pull your hair back 1 second? Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Ingrid. Good luck for tonight.
Thank you.
When it came time to choose the 21 finalists, emotions ran high as each judge expressed his or her opinion.
You know, when I see the pain in Ivanka's eyes there in the bedroom photo, I don't know how to read into it, but I do know this story about her mother, Ivana. So we all know that a few years ago, Ivana died. She allegedly fell down steps at her Manhattan apartment. That's what That's what was alleged, and that's what was said, that she fell down the stairs of her Manhattan apartment. She was then immediately buried in like the back lot of Bedminster, the golf course. Because in New Jersey, you get massive tax benefits if you turn your property into a cemetery. And so there was a detailed investigation that I did in a video last weekend about Ivana, where I went through the tax implications and how you get tax credits. But this is just so ghoulish, and they may have changed it since then, but the Daily Mail did this report where they showed where Ivana is buried at the Trump National Golf Club in Bedminster, where the weeds and shrubs kind of grew over it. And why would she want to be buried at her ex-husband's golf course in that area? It just, again, it seems so utterly ghoulish for me. And, you know, look, I don't know what Ivanka went through. I don't. So, I don't know what's going on behind the scenes privately. I don't know if she's, you know, upset at her dad for having her mom buried like that. But to me, it's unthinkable. How could you be okay with that being the burial place for your mom? But anyway, let me read you a portion though from a book called The Lost Tycoon: The Many Lives of Donald Trump. It was written by Harry Hurt III. And this is, he read the deposition transcripts of Ivanka's mom. And here's what he said happened to Ivana in the New York apartment, in Ivana's own words. Now, Ivana issued a statement after this book was released, or right before it was released. So I want to give you the full context, but here's what's stated in the book. And I just want to give a trigger warning. I'm about to read a description of Donald Trump sexually assaulting Ivana as described by Ivana. I want to be clear. Ivana, the mother, is who I'm talking about here, who is now dead. Ivana Trump has been relaxing in the master bedroom of the Trump Tower triplex, thinking about the trip she will be going to take to Tahiti. The trip will not just be for a vacation. It has to do with Donald's business. Lauren Edis, the widow of the late Trump Gaming Division executive Mark Edis, will be going with her. Ivana has been hoping the trip will help them get over the tragedy of the helicopter crash. Suddenly, according to Ivana, the Donald storms into the room. He's looking very angry, and he is cursing out loud. "Your fucking doctor has ruined me," he screams. The Donald flings Ivana down onto the bed, then he pins back her arms and grabs her by the hair. The part of her head he is grabbing corresponds to the spot on his head where the scalp reduction operation has been done. The Donald starts ripping out Ivana's hair by the handful as if he is trying to make her feel the same kind of pain that he is feeling. Ivana starts crying and screaming. The entire bed is being covered with strands of her golden locks. But the Donald is not finished. He rips off her clothes and unzips his pants. Then he jams his penis inside her for the first time in more than 16 months. Ivana is terrified. This is not lovemaking. This is not romantic sex. It is a violent assault. She later describes what Donald is doing to her in no uncertain terms. According to the versions she repeats to some of her closest confidants, "He raped me." When the Donald finally pulls out, Ivana jumps up from the bed. Then she runs upstairs to her mother's room. She locks the door and stays there crying for the rest of the night. The next morning, Ivana, and Donald Trump's wife at the time, musters up the courage to return to the master bedroom. The Donald is there waiting for her. He leaves no doubt that he knew exactly what he did to her the night before. As she looks in horror at the ripped out hair scattered all over the bed, he glares at her and asks with menacing casualness, "Does it hurt?" On April 7, 1993, when the first printing of The Lost Tycoon was awaiting shipment, the publisher, who had met with Donald Trump and his lawyers on March 3rd, received the following communication from Donald Trump's lawyers. The statement by Ivana Trump does not contradict or invalidate any information contained in this book, and it is included here only to give full expression to the differing points of view of an important event. Statement of Ivana Trump. During a deposition given by me in connection with my matrimonial case, I stated that my husband had raped me. I wish to say that on one occasion during 1989, Mr. Trump and I had marital relations in which he behaved very differently toward me than he had during our marriage. As a woman, I felt violated, as the love and tenderness which he normally exhibited toward me was absent. I refer to this as a rape, but I do not want my words to be interpreted in a literal or criminal sense. Any contrary conclusion would be an incorrect and most unfortunate interpretation of my statement, which I do not want to be interpreted in a speculative fashion, and I do not want the press or media to misconstrue it. And then she says, please basically print this and no one misconstrue what I said. It was basically a retraction of what she said, but you heard, her retraction right there. So there you have it, folks. You let me know what you think. I mean, people forget about the modeling days of Ivanka. I showed you some of the clips there. I don't know what happened. I'll just say what I feel confident of saying, and the only thing I feel confident of saying is that it was creepy. That's it. I'll leave it at that. That's my opinion. You can form your own opinions. We all have a First Amendment right to have opinions. But I'll just say I think it's creepy. That's my conclusion. You give me your conclusion in the comments below. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million. Thanks for watching.
Can't get enough Meidas? Check out the Meidas Plus Substack for ad-free articles, reports, podcasts, daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, and more. Sign up for free now at MeidasPlus.com.